Welcome everyone to round 6 of the Trackstars TS3 series around the lovely and beautiful Mount Panorama, located 2.5 hours away from Penrith, over in the beautiful suburb of Bathurst, located out in the Orange and Kelso and stuff like that. It's a very nice drive over the mountain, over through Lithgow. And it's also a very, very beautiful track. And I'd also like to welcome my fellow commentator, Mr. Smudley. Welcome.
Yes, DJ. How are we today? How's our daylight saving day coming along? It's going to be a nice little change in time and day where we actually get to see the sunlight when it's about 7 o'clock at night rather than being pitch black. So that's something that I like, and that means the summer is around the corner. And here we are, and it's a bright sunny day here at Bathurst for the TS3 Touring Car Championship, where we've had a bit of a developing news, ladies and gentlemen, where our championship leader in the one and only Cyric in the Car 98 Nissan has unfortunately withdrawn his entry due to having a faster time set in the Trackstars Racing Series regulations. That a time over 2 minutes 21 around the circuit experience in the Porsche 911 around Spa-Francorchamps. Any time under it, under 2 minutes 21, you are unfortunately out of the running. You are out of the TS3 Championship, as we have to accommodate the slower drivers and the upcoming drivers. But for Cyric, it's a big loss, DJ.
Yeah, it's definitely a big loss, because we obviously seen the fight that he was having with Warpath in the start of the season coming to the middle. So it was a very good fight they had going on there. But yeah, it's very unfortunate, but it's good to see. So he actually went up a driver rating as well. So he actually went to an A. So now he's an AS, I believe. I'm not really sure, but yeah. So not only has he gone faster in his circuit experience time, he's actually been promoted a driver rating. So he's kind of got the best of both worlds there, really.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's always hard to lose a driver in TS3, but it's always a great thing to up your driver rating and then even get your time faster around Spa-Francorchamps. He actually sent me a message today, and his time that he posted on the circuit experience was a 2:19, but he sent me a private message and he said a 2:18.6 last night. So he beat his time by like 4/10 after he posted that lap time. So he's definitely no slow driver, that's for sure. And we've seen throughout the TS3 Championship, he's taken 6 victories in the TS3 Championship, and all of those victories were well deserved and well dominated against him and Warpath. But I think it's only going to be a Warpath show unless somebody can make a mark here, DJ. I'm not so sure if we're going to be looking at the likes of Soul Reaper or maybe Gordon 69, both from the WRT Motorsport camp, but maybe they could be a surprise package too against Warpath, his teammate.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, in practice, I've seen Warpath be about 1.1 seconds faster than Vossi, so I think if anything we may see Vossi giving him a run, but obviously I wouldn't rule out Gordok, stuff like that. We did see Gordok take the clean sweep at Kyoto, so he definitely put in a very nice showing there, and straight after that we had Woodsy with his little old clean sweep trap card, so yeah, he had a really nice showing there. But yeah, at the moment I think my mind is on Warpath, so it's obviously going to be very unfortunate that we did lose Cyric, but maybe this opens a door for another driver, obviously in the likes of maybe Vossi or Gordok possibly. You never know, you might even see maybe even Kazi up there. So Kazi's had a decent run, as we see Vossi absolutely annihilate that wall.
Didn't have the greatest start to his outlap, and yeah, well, we're going to be here for the next fortnight, DJ. First round to begin the campaign of the Bathurst fortnight is the TS3 Championships, where these guys are getting qualifying underway, all on their outlaps. And but like you said earlier in the stream, DJ, it is a lovely track. It's a beautiful track, especially coming up towards McPhillamy Park, where you can actually see the town. You can actually see Bathurst from the top of the hill there, which is an amazing sight. I haven't been there before, but you've been there countless times, and I would assume you get a really nice view of the city at the top of the hill.
Oh yeah, it's gorgeous up there. Obviously I've been going there for many years. But hopefully you guys can make the venture up there. Obviously, I'd like to say this year, but I think it's a little bit too close. But maybe even next year. But yeah, no, it's very nice up there. But people don't realise the actual gradient of the track. So I think the elevation from the bottom to the top is about 160 metres.
Oh wow!
Up to the peak of Skyline there. So yeah, when you actually walk the track, it takes you about 2 to 2.5 hours just walking it. But yeah, the steepness of the track is actually, it's incredible. Like obviously the cameras don't really gauge it.
Yeah. Do you think video games have a good representation of how steep it is? Like especially Gran Turismo or even iRacing, do they have a good representation of what is actually what the track is in real life compared to the actual sim?
Yeah, I think it does. I think obviously iRacing is a little bit better, but you can see here he's actually on the. So we'll follow Vossi for this one. He's on the run up here, but when this dips down, it actually dips down something chronic, and the steepness of this turn. So we go back here, you can't really gauge it. When I go to Bathurst this year, I'll see if I can actually go up there. But yeah, the gauging of Gran Turismo to compare to how the actual track is it's just far and far between. So I think iRacing is probably the best gauge. But yeah, you probably notice most of the cars actually struggle going up mountain straight. Because the gradient and elevation is so high.
Yeah, because I remember watching a stream, there was a little bit of a highlights where they actually do catch that little bit of airtime coming up Mountain Straight. That's always catches people out, especially on the iRacing sims.
Yeah, so when you're actually going up Mountain Straight, so going over the first hump, it actually pulls the car to the left. So I've done a fast track V8 drive there. So I've done 4 laps around this in one of those driver lucky stole it kind of thing. So full helmet, all that kind of stuff. Going up Mountain Straight, you've actually got to, over the first hump, you've actually got to steer to the right, because it does pull the car to the left, and you can feel yourself like kind of dip into the seat. Like it's something you can't really gauge off a video game. Like they do their best, but it's kind of something you really need to kind of
experience yourself.
Yeah, experience yourself. So like I can say it and all this kind of stuff, but yeah, it's actually, like you probably noticed, and you can hear most of the international drivers that do race on here, they say it is one of the best tracks in the world. Like for something that's actually, obviously some people might not know this, but the Bathurst track is actually a street circuit. So it's actually a road.
Yeah, that's right. It's only set to 60 kilometers an hour. So obviously you can't go full tilt, but obviously you can. I guess in a way you'd see some drivers just going around a corner and they just flog the car a little bit, and then they just drop it back down to 60 kilometers just to get that a bit of adrenaline rush. But yeah, obviously it's very heavily patrolled there. I haven't been there, but I guess obviously the countless times you've been. Is it heavily patrolled in that section of the track, or the whole track?
There's actually speed cameras all through the track. I think there's about 4. Plus there's always, it's either like 2, 3 or 4 cameras, I'm not really sure. But yeah, there's actually police going up and down the track all day,
Okay.
every day. So if you want somewhere to speed and you think you're a race car driver, mate, don't do it at Bathurst. Go book a track day. Yeah, do it on a go track. Book a track day. Take your car there on a closed circuit. So, but yeah, so it's actually a phenomenal track. So.
Absolutely, but let's get back onto the action. So far on provisional pole position, we have Warpath 360 coming across the line. He does improve his time there, so it's a nice clean lap for Warpath 360's next challenger is Vossi from the ISAR Racing Group in second place there. So he's always been a little bit of an underdog, you could say. Vossi, he's come in late to the series. He's only done 3. He's missed 3 rounds, but obviously he's been probably, you could say, probably the third fastest if Zurich not had left the TS3 championship. It would have been close between him and Gordon and Soul Reaper as the third fastest driver.
Yeah, exactly. And you never know. Like I'm not counting out one of these drivers down in 6th, 7th, 8th, Baseman, Gordon or Cowboy, but I think it might be, honestly, a Warpath show around here, so Woodsy might have to pull out the trap card at the moment, but my Monopoly money's definitely going on Warpath, so you can see he's 1.1 seconds faster, so he's doing a 152.9, and then Bossy's in with 154 flat, so it's,
okay.
it's a bit, obviously the racing's different to qualifying and stuff like that when the cars are like bunched a bit together, but maybe Bossy might get a bit of a toe.
And the cars are a little bit lighter when it comes, and the cars are a little bit lighter when it comes to the fuel, as well as the fuel gauges drop down to 40 litres. But Voss is just getting a little bit held up by traffic. As he went PB there through that middle section. The sector times are a little bit weird on GT Sport. It doesn't replicate the real life in supercars or even in iRacing. The sector timings was split into 4 sectors, which it's not really how it should be. It's always split into 3 sectors up towards Reed Park, and then the second is coming out of the exit of Forest Alba, and then the last one's on the start-finish straight. So this whole section of Conrod Straight all the way up until about the late 80s, where they had to build the chase here, as it was deemed too fast, and the old Group C and the old Group A cars were very hard to pull up on the entry to Murray's Corner, where they were coming at least about 250, 260 kilometers an hour.
Yeah, and obviously going back then, they didn't have as good as what brakes and stuff they did back then, but I'm curious because I'm not seeing the fuel burn, so I just want to see if my fuel burn, so it's alright. But yeah, they obviously had, oh no, there it is, I've accidentally left it off. Lovely!
Lovely.
Yeah, what have I done there fuel-wise as well? Oh man, initial fuel is default. Mate, my settings are all out of whack. I feel sorry for these guys. I'll fix it after this. But yeah, so they've actually added the chase because the cars were actually going too fast coming in there. And I think, I don't know if I can remember correctly, but they almost had either someone pass away from having that. I'm not overly sure what the story was, but yeah, it was definitely because they're going too fast.
Yeah, I'm not so sure on that story either. I always just thought, I've seen the old classic videos from Rocky's days, and then the old Moffat days, and then obviously not even like the guys like Craig Lowndes or Greg Murphy even saw that section of the track. They never went flat out throughout Conrod Straight, so they obviously grew up when the chase was installed on the track as safety precautions. But yeah, it was going around about roughly about 260 to 70 kilometers an hour. In those days, that was fast for especially for a Tirana or a big heavy Ford Falcon going down the old Conrod Straight. As we see Warpath 360, he's gone purple 3 laps in a row, DJ. So he's just getting quicker and quicker. And I wonder if this time around, this last lap is going to be the fastest one he's going to set.
There it is, a 52.1. So he's gone faster again. So he's 1.5 seconds faster than. Oh, we got Renegade up in second place. Sorry, I missed that one. So he's set that on his 4th lap. So it's pretty good seeing another ISR driver there in Renegade. So we've got a Nissan and Lexus show. Unfortunately, there's no one in the Honda. So thank you, Woodsy. 11 out of 10. Thanks, mate.
That's great. But as we get ourselves ready for the first race here at Trackstars Racing Series TS3 Touring Cars, we have Warpath 360, as always, leading the way, leading the pack in the Trackstars TS3 Championship. Alongside him is ISI Renegade 575 with Bossy in 3rd and Gordic 69 with a late time in 4th place. As we look towards those lights, who are we going to see come out the first corner towards Hell Corner? We wait for those lights to go green. Lights out, green flag racing, and we've got ourselves an excellent start between Warpath and Renegade, but Warpath's going to come out with the lead coming into Hell Corner, and he takes that turn nicely as ISO Renegade runs a bit wide, and Soul Reaper runs wider, DJ. So that's a bit of a poor start from some of the WRT Motorsport camp, and especially Renegade, who got a little bit too wide onto the entry of Hell Corner.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of going a bit too deep there in cold tyres, so I think that might be a little bit of an inexperience here, but I know my camera bunged up, so we'll go back in. Yeah, I think that might be a little bit of inexperience for these guys, but look at this, it's a WRT 1-2, so we got Gordon right on the back of Warpath.
So Gordok's moved up from 4th to 2nd place, so that's a great start for Gordok and the WRT team. So Gordok, as you said, has been on 2 wins in a row. He might be able to challenge his teammate in Warpath 360 coming out of this race, but at the moment he's pulled himself about at least a second gap as Gordok goes a little bit too hot into the entry of McPhillamy there, and Vossi is trying to avoid crashing into him. As we see the replays, we see Gordon coming up towards the top of the hill. I wonder if he just runs a little bit too wide. He misses the apex massively, and it just gets caught on the grass. And these guys are so lucky they don't have heavy damage DJ, because otherwise he'd be screwed. And he's all the way down into 10th place, so his day just goes from bad to worse. And he's just come around. He's actually spun down towards the S's through the dipper. That is unbelievable bad luck for Gordon in his first race at Mount Panorama. But we see Vossi's gone back into 2nd place, with Renegade making a move on the inside. No, he backs out of it. So bit of a swap, positional change swap for Vossi and Renegade, but they're still going 2nd, 3rd. And look who's come to play in 4th place, DJ. Isar Benjo 19 in 4th place in a nice green looking, kind of like green turf livery back in the old Dick Johnson days, in 4th place, with KPL Baseman in 5th place.
Yeah, that's a really nice area, and he's sponsored there with Victoria Bitter. So I don't know about you, but I'm definitely not a fan of the good old VB. So get a good old nice cold VB at 8 o'clock, 28 in the morning.
Well, we've got Woodsy in the chat. I wonder if he's a fan of Victoria Bitter. I think he's more on the rum. So.
Yeah, I think Woodsy's on the rum, but
he's the rum man.
Yeah, Benjo's just gone purple here. So I wonder if he keeps it on the track and he can get up closer to Renegade. He's gone a little bit closer, so will we see Benjo fighting for 2nd place here?
Well, it's interesting you say, because you look at Renegade and Benjo. These guys earlier in the day they had a championship race here early in the mornings with their group in ISAR Racing. They obviously had a championship with another league, and they did Bathurst in the Ford Mustang Group 3 cars. And they knew they were racing at Bathurst this morning, and then they knew they were racing at Bathurst this afternoon. So it was, I guess you could say in a way, it was meant to be for the ISAR boys in Renegade and Benjo, who are the leading 2 drivers that had created ISAR Racing. But as a cat to the action, Renegade has gone for a bit of a half spin there, and he's just lost control of his Lexus. I mean, coming down here, you'd think the Lexus was a bit stable, but it just lost it coming into the entry of the dipper, and it just lost it since. He just couldn't gather the pace back up, and he's gone spinning around. A bit unlucky for him. He's only dropped down to 4th place. So that's not a bad start for him. It could have been worse.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously up the top, if you spin, you may end up going from the likes of obviously 2nd place down to the end, as we've seen what happened to Gordok there. But I think they're just trying to push these cars a little bit too much.
Yeah, I mean, it's a track that you don't want to really overdrive the car, because the track will bite, and as we'll see later on in the Bathurst 1000 next week, we're going to be seeing that. We're going to see drivers pushing their cars too much, and they're going to end up getting heavy damage. As we see Baseman make a move on Benjo, he takes 4th place. So Baseman is a little bit of an underdog here. I mean, he's been there or thereabouts in the midfield, but I wonder if now it is his time to make a move onto the podium, and he's got himself a good run over Renegade from 575, where Renegade, KPL, Kazi and Soul Reaper, they were always the top 4. They was fighting the back end of the podium positions, but now we've got Gordok 69, who's been making the move so far, but he's had a shocking start. He had a shocking first lap, and he's all the way down in 9th place, so that's a bit of not a great start for him in his Bathurst 100 in the TS3 championship.
Yeah, obviously these guys are in the touring cars, but we do have the Formula 2 and the main series Formula Series this week, and then next week is the big week. So if you haven't seen the schedule for next week, it's going to be a definite big one. So we've got the Porsche Cup, we've got a 2-hour showroom showdown, and then we've got the TS2, and then the main series, the 1000 on the Sunday. So these guys have been put a week early, but yeah, and then we've got some of these drivers are actually doubling up in the F2 after this. So
yeah, that's right. I mean, we won't be able to see Warpath do it, unfortunately. I think Benjo is one of those drivers that'll be doing a double stint in the formulas. But yeah, I mean, you get a lot of racing here at Bathurst over the next fortnight, and it comes in every class of cars, like you said, TS3, Porsche Cup, Group 2s. It's everything. Whatever category of cars you can think of, we're going to be racing it at Bathurst over the next fortnight. But still leading the way in a comfortable position, 10.7 seconds ahead of Vossi as Warpath 360 has been showing just dominant form and performance. So it kind of makes you think, DJ. We had the battle between Warpath and Cyric back in the previous 5 rounds, and it just kind of shows that obviously those two were the dominant drivers in the TS3 championship, and now one driver's gone. It looks like it might be more or less a Warpath show.
Yeah, and obviously we've got Cyric in the chat, so it's obviously unfortunate to see you on the other side of the screen. But yeah, it's good. Unfortunately, I think, luckily for anyone else, looking at the driver standings, with the amount of rounds left to go, I don't think anybody will be able to catch him. So we've got Renegade in 3rd place, which he will now be promoted up to 2nd due to Cyric pulling out. So
is that actually a big gap between Cyric and Renegade? Is that right?
Yeah. So in between Cyric and Warpath, we've got 6 points. And then in between Cyric and Warpath, we've got 6 points, and then in between Warpath and Renegade, we've got 105.
Oh wow! So yeah, that's more or less like a race weekend anyway. So that's more. So Renegade's going to be definitely going to be inheriting 2nd place, but he might be he's going to be too far away from Warpath 360. As Warpath 360 gets himself really comfortable driving these cars, and we've said it plenty of times over countless streams, DJ, do you think, could it be possible that we might be able to see a WRT motorsport team in Trackstars in 2022?
As I said to you, I think last week or the week before, I'm not ruling out any team. We've got a big season ahead of us to pick the other teams to join the series. But yeah, obviously I wouldn't count them out. I obviously wouldn't count out ISAR either, KPL. I wouldn't count out anybody. Obviously there is the option there for anyone to join. But yeah.
Well, absolutely, that's right. And you even got guys from M&R, Motorsport Network Racing. I mean, they've been more or less in the midfield of the TS3 towards the back end, but it's only been their first season. They've had a good run in the endurance series as well, back at Le Mans and in the Spa 4 hour. They had a bit of good time there. Probably not almost within the top 5 of that standings, but even them, they could probably they might be throwing in an undercard driver. They might say, well, we're having our drivers racing in TS3, but we've got an ace up our sleeves that could take it towards the main touring car drivers. Who knows? I mean, it's anyone can vie for those positions in the main series next year.
Yeah, obviously the current main series teams do obviously have first preference over the new teams, but obviously if the look, Woodsy, leave me and my maths alone. We know I can't math. But yeah, so the main series teams currently do have priority over any new incoming teams.
Well, the one team that's going to be leaving, as you know, is Pitlane Esports. They won't be renewing their contract with Trackstars, and so that obviously opens up a spot available for any team, you could say.
Yeah, exactly. And then I'm not overly sure what is happening with like SDRT and EBM, stuff like that, so you never know. We may see a late pull out from one of those teams, so anything's possible.
Absolutely right, and we're not counting our money out on new teams coming into the series. There's always going to be a driver that wants to form a team or make his own team. Just like how it started with myself, for example. I just started as a sole driver in Trackstars last year, and I just created Mash Buzz Racing, just a bit more of a banter, a bit more of a laughing like team, just just driving around having a good time. And then I recruited Puns Ollie, and then it just turned out to be a big thing. We've just got ourselves a great field of drivers with basically it's a team with just great mates, and I guess that's the same thing that can happen to any of these teams. ISAR have done it with Benjo and Renegade. KPL have done it throughout other series. and then even WRT as well. They came from another series as well. So all because of their either family or great mates as a whole, which is awesome to see when you have that team relationship. As Renegade just goes drifting through that corner again, he's always just going a little bit too fast, coming down towards the dipper as we're coming down towards Forest Elbow. Renegade is just pushing his Lexus a little bit too much, just trying to close up on Vossi, but Vossi looks like he just has his number at the moment, because obviously he can see through his rear vision that Renegade is pushing that Lexus, and he's pushing it very hard, that he's almost going to spin it again like he did on lap 2.
Yeah, he was pushing it a bit hard, but I did see that gap go from 1 second to 0.5. So as much as he was pushing it hard and he slid it, he almost tries to make a move down the inside here at the chase. So yeah, he might have been pushing it a bit far, but he counted his lucky stars and he definitely pulled off for him. So he's closed that gap up, and I wouldn't count out Renegade getting a P2 here at the moment. So Vossi will want to keep his mirrors wide open.
Absolutely, and those two were, Vossi was second in the provisional qualifying, and then Renegade just came in with a last lap charge and got P2 in that race. So he's definitely obviously he's showing he's a little bit faster than Vossi's, but he's stuck in traffic, and that Lexus does lack a little bit of the straight lines, but when it comes to overall balance, is he going for an outside move? Surely not. Nah, he's just drifted a little bit too wide onto the marbles, and that part of the track is very slippery, that's for sure. But yeah, the Lexus obviously hasn't been the package for the TS3 Championship, as we've seen all of the races so far. All of the 12 races we've seen in Trackstars TS3 have all been won by Nissan's DJ. So obviously the Nissan is a little bit more preferential with the old Group 2s compared to the Lexus and Honda.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think, mate, chuck one of us in the Lexus, and then we'll see one of those Lexuses up in the top step. So, unlike the main series at the moment, it was obviously dominated by Hondas in the first start of the season, and we had a bit of R&D mid-season, and we kind of evened them a little bit. I can't even English today. Evened them out a bit more. So now we've seen obviously the Nissans up there and the Lexuses up there. It's not really so much of a Honda lawnmower show now. It's a bit of a boat show with the Lexus up there. So yeah, I mean, I think they just need to get their heads around the Lexus a little bit more. But yeah, I can't. I wonder.
The grunt, the beating sound of the V8 in the Lexus is always an awesome sound to hear when you're actually driving it in person. When you drive it on the game, it sounds so good. But then the loud bellow of the Honda NSX, it always just sounds like your partner's having an orgasm, just coming down, flying down Quad Rod Grade. So, but we're on our final lap, ladies and gentlemen. After all of that talking and all of the commentary stuff, we haven't been keeping an eye on Warpath, because he's just been dominated from lights to flag victory. Looks like it's going to be for Warpath 360. So good start for Warpath. Obviously, we can't really tell at the moment how much closer it would have been if Cyric was in the race, but so far, as we've been saying all of this stream, that Warpath is just on another planet with victories and domination.
Yeah, it's, as I said, obviously having Cyric pull out, it's just giving that Warpath the free ticket to victory. So it's unfortunate to not see a driver a little bit closer.
Renegade's gone really deep in that. Oh, he's actually had a spin, and that's on the last lap as well. And I know Renegade, and he would be kicking himself after that mistake there. So. Oh, that's a bit hard done, but that promotes KPL Baseman on third place on the podium. So I did call that he was looking at a chance of a podium. I didn't think it was going to come that early, but it obviously kept his nose clean and gets himself a podium as a reward there. But looking back towards the front for the final time, coming down towards Murray's Corner, it is Warpath 360 from WRT Motorsport. That's going to take the first race and the win here at Trackstars TS3. So it's a big congratulations to Warpath 360 and the WRT Motorsport camp in taking out the line honours here at Mount Panorama Bathurst, with Vossi in the Ice R camp in second place, with KPL Baseman. Oh, as he gets a little bit hairy there on the final lap there, but luckily he's got himself 11.1 gap over KPL Baseman. I mean, these drivers are struggling to get around this track, and nobody wants to take a podium. I mean, Vossi almost threw that one away.
Yeah, it's obviously common there because I don't know if people saw last year at the actual Bathurst 1000, Jordan Boyce, who was also driving alongside Todd Hazelwood, did the exact same thing there. Got a bit hard on the ripple strip and put it into the pit wall. So it's not hard to do, to be honest. But yeah, it was a nice showing by these guys, and we've got a little bit of a mid-Lexus show in the middle pack there. But unfortunately for Renegade, he comes past the line in 9th, so he's actually dropped behind Gordok there. So
yeah, that's a bit unlucky for Renegade, and on the last lap too. I mean, I think obviously I obviously don't want to really say it, but I think he may have just been overdriving that Lexus a bit too much. We just saw that whole race, DJ, just a little bit unstable on his end, and obviously it's something that he might need to improve for race 2. But one driver that doesn't need to improve, it might need to slow down a little bit, it is Warpath 360 taking the victory and obviously pole position with the fastest lap of the race there. So big congrats to Warpath and taking out race 1 here at Trackstars TS3 for round 6. The Bathurst Sprint, 1 race down, 1 race to go. But race 1 was taken the line honours by Warpath 360 with Vossi in 2nd place and KPL Basement in 3rd.
yeah, as you see, Renegade in the chat here saying my race just fell apart. Yeah, it was unlucky there, man. But we just think, kind of calm your head a little bit there, man. You've got the pace there to be up the front, so just calm your head and put that power to the Lexus to the ground, and just try not to overdrive it so much. Just kind of let it float over the track. So we all know you're a good driver, you're a fast driver. So yeah, we'll just see you bounce back for the next race.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, you've been doing really well and up to that point. So it's a bit unlucky there, but definitely from 9th place you can get yourself back on the podium for sure. So as DJ gets himself ready for the 2nd race, maybe we might be able to get you to do a good old hot lap around this glorious track that is Mount Panorama Bathurst.
Yeah, we'll try and see what we can do. Oh, I need to change the starting grid too. There we go. Alright, we'll go in the bright pink Nissan as we always do. I need to put this in Trackstars colours.
That's right. All right, but as you come out the exit here, it's coming out down towards turn 1 out of Hell Corner, and you can lead us throughout the rest of the lap, DJ, as you know this track more than anybody else.
Yeah, obviously we got the run up here to up to Griffin, so we got it in here pretty flat, brake at about a 80 odd metre mark, kick it down to 3rd gear, come through here, turn 2. So nice run up the mountain till we get to the top, coming into the cutting here. So into 5th if we need to, smack it back down to 2nd, real tight apex here, get a bit hairy on the exit there. Coming up through turn 5, 6, up through Reed Park, Sortland Park, over for the run to the top. So it's a very nice track, all the way out to the wall. We can keep it flat, over to the wall again, 6th gear, hanging tight in here, go a little bit wide after you hit the wall.
Oh, a bit too wide.
Yeah, over to Brock Skyline, through the S's, down into 2nd gear, down through the dipper, on the run into the elbow because my car seems to not grip. Yeah, so down to 2nd gear, have a nice exit, go really close to the wall. Probably not as close as Dick Johnson did back in the 80s. And yeah, we've got the nice 1.2 kilometre straight, I believe it is, down Conrod. So these cars unfortunately max out under no tuning. So we come into the chase, getting 300 k's, back it in here, all nice on the exit of the chase. Coming down into turn 23, into Murray's Corner. Try not to hit any of the ripple strips, maybe the exit curb. But yeah, man, that's a beautiful lap. 6.213 kilometres of the beautiful Mount Panorama, located 2 hours west of Sydney.
Absolutely, you're getting a bit of stick from Woodsy in the chat there, so he's what not to do on your Hot Lap DJ 2021.
Sirik's calling me out.
Oh, he wants to see you in a Honda. He wants you to try again.
Here we go. We'll try again in the Honda, eh?
There
I wanted to see the Honda Hot Lap with the DJ bin.
Well, those in the chat, let's try and predict what do you predict? When is DJ going to bin his lap? What corner is DJ going to bin his lap? How would you rate at the end of his hot lap? What would you rate it out of 10? Give us a prediction in the chat. It's coming up towards Griffin's corner. That's a very nice sweeping corner. That entry into Griffin's has a little bit of a gradient on the inside curbing there, so you want to try and hook that inside as much as you can just to get that car stick onto the curbing, coming through the cutting, and then Oz is in trying to get it nice and flat with a tiny lift up, coming off through Reed Park and then down through Solomon. Try to keep it nice and flat, close as you can to the grade, hugging that inside curbing, trying not to touch the wall on the outside, and all the way up to McPhillamy. One little small misjudgment, and then you're on that gravel as we saw with DJ, coming towards the skyline and Rocky Skyline through the S's, down through the dipper. It's just a fast-paced action and just gets a little bit hairy on the exit there, but this is a nice little twisty, tight section. One line through here, and it's just clipped the wall, coming through the Forest Elbow. And yeah, like you said, don't do a Dick Johnson and rush yourself along the wall and don't hit a tree. But luckily for these guys, the trees have no impact on GT Sport and these drivers. So they're coming down this long stretch of Cotton Rod Straight, maxing it out at almost just under 300 kilometers an hour, or just a bit over. That's a perfect 301 there. Braking nice and deep to get a nice entry into the chase, onto the exit of the chase. Clip a little bit of that outside curbing for the last stretch, which is coming down towards Murray's corner. Brake it just past the 100. Use that extra strip as your turn-in reference, and then out of Murray's corner onto the pit straight. That is your lap around Bathurst. And chat, how do we rate that lap out of 10?
No, would you give me a 2 or 3?
Nice. There you go. And Woodsy was definitely having a go at your skyline moment there.
I think that was him telling me where I'm going to bin it, but I bin it skyline down the hill. I had a bit of a hairy moment coming out of the dipper there, but that was a bit of. It's a bit hard because I can't hear the game volume, but that was a bit of a better lap than what the Nissan was. So.
Well, Zurich gave you a 10 and would definitely make you want to bang the wall on the exit of the Alba. You did have that in the Nissan, but not. Well, you were a bit close in the Honda, so more or less. He's giving you a 4. Subpar performance as per you. Oh, that's classic. But I think the time has come, ladies and gentlemen. It is race 2 here at Trackstars TS3 for round 6 for the Bathurst Sprint. We're going to get ourselves underway. DJ, Monopoly money, that would definitely have to go towards Warpath 360, unless you think somebody else might be able to take the challenge to Warpath.
Yeah, my Monopoly money's on Warpath at the moment, so it would probably be on Siri, but I don't think Gordok is putting in as good a show as what he did at Kyoto, so it's very unfortunate not to see him up the front there like what he did a couple of weeks back. So pretty unfortunate.
Absolutely. Yeah, and obviously it's a very small. Obviously, he just came in late to the series, and it just showed a great performance at Kyoto. But definitely one to forget for Bathurst, unless he can redeem himself with the podium. But we've got Warpath 360 on pole with Bossy in second, Benjo and Baseman locking out the second row of the grid. Entered El Cowboy and Kazi on the third. Lights go out, green flag racing, and Benjo's got himself an excellent start. He's making a move up into second place, and he's got that move done, and Benjo's in second place, but nobody's going to challenge Warpath unless Benjo does onto the entry of Griffin's Bend. That's a great start for Benjo, DJ.
Yeah, that's an astounding job there, because he obviously came back from where fifth was, and he's got the inside run up into the move. Look at this, Benjo challenging for the lead. Go on, son. Oh, he breaks a little bit too early there.
Oh, and he just runs a bit wide. He's going to hook that curbing. He doesn't go spinning, so that's a nice save there. But very unlucky for Benjo to almost take the lead of the race, and he drops himself all the way down to fifth. We see Kazi go for an ambitious move around the outside of Fossey there. That's definitely not on around that corner. It's very slippery around there, but Benjo got to back himself up into fourth place, and just like you were in the first race, the order hasn't really changed in the top 5.
Yeah, well, obviously we've got Kazi up in fifth, so we've got Renegade down here in seventh. So I think he might be. Oh, he's gone for an inside move on Gordok there into the S's. That was very.
How does Gordok pull that up? Oh, he's just gone a little bit. He's gone a little bit tail happy there, and that's definitely not what Gordok wanted. That's his race ruined, and he's ruined. Looks like he's ruined somebody else's. That was bench stick there. Yeah, bench stick 7 there.
Yeah, there was a bit of
Yeah,
ghosting. Bit of ghosting happened here. So he's gone inside bent stick and then unghosted and then.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's very unlucky. I guess that's the ghosting system on GT Sport, ladies and gentlemen. So that's how it works. Unfortunately, I don't know how and why it does that, but anyway. But look at this, DJ. At the end of coming towards the end of the first lap, Vossi looks like he's going to be putting a challenge here.
Yeah, at the
Something about
moment he dropped the right rear on the grass there coming into the chase. So he lost a little bit of time.
just under a. Well, it looks like he's just going to be just under a second coming down towards the end of the first lap here, and. Yeah, I mean this is something different, and obviously I think the first lap was just a bit over a second over Vossi, but now this actually he must have done a little bit of a regroup, must have had a bit of a drink of cold water, and just thought, right, I've got to get my head down, and I've got to make sure I can give Warpath a challenge, and he's almost about 6/10 away from Warpath 360 in first place.
Yeah, he's doing a pretty good job, and if I was him, I wouldn't want to let Warpath get too far in front, because as soon as he gets too far in front, he'll just check out like what he did in race 1. But Woodsy, have that clean sweep trap card ready to go, mate. We may see that card coming out at the end of this race, but I wouldn't count out Vossi just yet.
No, mate, he's been showing great performance. A bit unlucky with the qualifying. He got a little bit held up there by Renegade as well, but this is definitely a chance for Vossi to show his credentials as a top TS3 driver, and he could possibly make the move and challenge Warpath 360 for victories. Maybe not this round, maybe, but over the next 4 rounds, he could possibly be looking for a first victory in the ISR camp.
Yeah, well, he obviously, go back to Monza, he had a decent performance there too, but he was unfortunately got spun in the last corner by Renegade.
And as we say that, a bit of commentator's curse there, and Vossi's just lost it onto the entry of the Forest Elba. And DJ, we've seen that with we saw that with Tim Slade and Scott McLaughlin in 2020 and 2021 Bathurst. Is that corner coming into the Forest Elba really tricky as they say it is?
It is, because if you change down to 3rd or 2nd gear there too fast, the rear actually steps out. And once the rear steps out, see you later, mate. Check out. As we did say back in 2014 with Chaz Mostert. So he hit the inside wall on the left-hander because it was a simple. I don't know if anyone knows the story behind it, but the reason why he actually hit the wall is because where the paint on the wall, it went from white to black. And then obviously because he's got his helmet on, he thought that was the track. So he's gone too tight on the left, and he's just gone left, right, left, and it's just gone downhill from there. So once you
was
clip
that the Mostert crash?
Yeah, the Mostert crash. So the paint on the concrete wall on the left hand side. So where you go left, right, then into the elbow, the paint there was actually white, and then it went to black. So he thought that was the track.
Yeah. Okay.
So he turned in a little bit too tight there because he thought that's where the track went.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. Didn't know about that.
Yeah, and they actually repainted it overnight, so they extended the white section around the corner, so that didn't obviously happen again. So it's a very strange one, but yeah, definitely the gradient is very off camber and pretty tight there. So
But I guess for a driver, you do have that mentality when you're trying to look for markers for turn-in references and turn-in points, and obviously, yeah, like you said, obviously, as we see Vossi fly through that section, I can see what you mean there.
Catch it here. It's glitched out, but see if I can catch it here by one of these back drivers. So as he's coming down here, you can see just there it goes from white to black.
Yep.
So he's used that as a reference to where the corner is. So he's actually turned in too tight. So he's actually hit the wall. So I don't know if people actually knew that story, but yeah, that's the reason why he had that massive crash back in 2014.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. I did not know that at all. So that's very, very fascinating to know about that. As that was a very scary accident back in 2015, and probably obviously one of the biggest crashes that they've had there. And then you see drivers like Scott McLaughlin in 2020 put it in the wall in practice, in a practice session, and then Tim Slade did it in race 1 for the 250. It's a very dangerous section of the track, that's for sure. But obviously, if you hit the wall at Bathurst, it bites. As the old saying as Bathurst goes, you hit the wall, it bites hard.
Yeah, there's no light thing about it. If you hit the wall, you're definitely done. Oh, what is this move by Soul Reaper?
Soul
Reaper,
no,
Cowboy.
that was, Cowboy was made almost made two positions there. So we catch that replay. Let's go for an onboarding. Wow, if he made a move on Gordok and then but it looks like I think Soul Reaper just maybe broke a little bit too early there as he was trying to follow Bedstick's line. And Gordok and Soul Reaper had a bit of a chance to make those moves, but we see Soul Reaper not going for an outside move around towards the entry of the cutting. No, he holds back in, thank goodness. So it almost would have been a Greg Murphy and Marcus Zembra situation back in 2005, where I guess still to this day those two are still butting heads of whose corner was that, and I guess it is an online debate of who had the right of way. So that's a story that'll never end, DJ.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously you got that story there, and then obviously the story behind Scott McLaughlin. I believe it was Anton and Jamie Winker put it in the wall by running just slightly offline there, getting in the marbles and see you later. So yeah, so Scotty Mac did it in the Volvo, Winkup did it, and I think Anton did it as well. So if I remember correctly, yes, if you run offline very, very slightly, it'll definitely bite you. But if you guys are tuning in next weekend to the 1000, I have a feeling it's a very high safety car percentage around this track.
And last year we had about 8 safety cars last year in the debut of the Trackstars 1000 on Gran Turismo Sport, and it's about 8 safety cars. So Robbo had a bit of a busy time trying to pick up the leaders, and then the leaders coming into the pits and changing tyres and doing driver swaps. So yeah, definitely a high percentage of safety cars, that's for sure, and possibly we might see more because these cars. We do remind our viewers that this year's cars are a lot faster compared to what we had last year. Last year we ran the old Gran Turismo balance of performance, but this year we're running our own Trackstars balance of performance, so these cars are a lot faster at the top of the hill. They're a lot faster and they need a lot more control when it comes through the section coming down through Reed, Solomon, McPhillamy, and even down through the S's. So the cars are going to be very hard to handle around this track, and possibly that's going to catch out some of the more experienced main series drivers, but even the co-drivers as well, as they get themselves accustomed to the faster specs in the Group 2 cars.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be one to watch. Obviously you were in it last year, I filled in, Woodsy was in it, Kunz was in it, so most of the drivers this year are in it, but yeah, it's just cars are a lot faster, so we're going to have to definitely do a lot of tuning here. We see that gap between Warpath and Flossie not quite as much as what it was last race.
No, well he's done himself a good job. I don't think he doesn't have the pressure from Renegade like he had in that first race. So, but we don't see Renegade in that top 8 there, so he's definitely made another mistake somewhere. And yeah, look at that, he's down in last place there. So definitely looks like it's just gone from bad to worse for Renegade. So a bit unfortunate there for the I think he's Queensland driver in Renegade. And yeah, obviously just a nice little tribute livery to the old Dick Johnson blue machine, coming through down towards the chase. And does he think about making a move on Gordon? No, he doesn't. So very close indeed. So you've got to look at these drivers, DJ. Gordon 69, ISO Renegade, and even Soul Reaper all down at 8th, 9th, 8th, 10th, and 11th there. So definitely not the race for those guys this time round.
Yeah, I think they're just trying to push the cars a little bit too much. So we noticed at Kyoto they kind of relaxed a little tiny bit. But yeah, I don't know, man. If it was me, this would be the definite track that I would want to take the win at.
Absolutely, but even you look at Big Red UFA in 6th place. He's been doing a solid job. He's been flying a little bit under the radar, you could say. I mean, he took his first podium back at the Kyoto 500, and a fitting tribute in the Kyoto race where we were remembering the 20 years of 9/11 that happened back in September 11 in 2001, and he put on a great performance to be top 3 overall, in 3rd place overall in the standings there, and he's actually now holding 6th place, so he's doing a good job. He had a bit of a slow start, but no pun intended, a very slow start, running the wrong specifications on the car, and then he's been on the charge ever since, and he's been moving himself very nicely towards the top 5.
Yeah, he's been doing a really good job, but as you said, I think it was one that kind of been flying under the radar at the moment. But I think that race back at Kyoto actually was a lot closer to his heart, so that podium kind of meant these back markers are definitely pushing these cars way too much. You can see them sliding around into the apex of the corner. You just don't want the car to be sliding like that. You just want it to float through the corner.
Absolutely. But even look at that. Like, you can even see through the tyre wear. We're on lap 6 of 8, but look at the tyre wear on these cars. You can actually see a lot of red, or a tinge of red on the tyres on the screen, and that's just incredible. Like, even for these cars and for this amount of race, this could be something for the main series drivers to be keeping an eye on, because if that tyre wear is pretty high on a TS3, can you imagine what it's going to be like on a main series spec car?
Yeah, like I can imagine that, and we've got Baseman is just a little bit more tired, but just remember we're also on medium, so we'll be on mediums for the 1000 where these guys are on softs. So our tyre wear will be slightly less, but yeah, that tyre wear is definitely going to be one to the lightest. So I'm just wondering how many laps we'll be able to do on that tyre wear. So that's
on the one set of tyres, yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. I mean, I think what I remember in the last year's race, I believe from what I remember was I did a pit stop, and I don't think I changed tyres. I only just came in for fuel because the tyres were still pretty good at that time of the race, because it was on the lower power settings. But definitely this time around, I think with the tyre wear being pretty high, or the horsepower being much higher than last year, the tyres are going to feel real effect on the tyre wear, especially around this track where it demands a lot of that demands a lot of rear tyres when it comes to traction sections of the track.
Yeah, and especially over the on the right hand side too. So it's obviously an anti-clockwise track, and most of your corners are left-hander. So it's going to put a lot of stress on those right-hand tyres. But coming into the last lap, around here in the Bathurst 100, we've got Warpath out in front with a comfortable 10 second lead. So I have a feeling that Bossy may have had a little bit of a hiccup there, but
yeah. But he'll be happy to take a P2 overall out of this event. So I think he'll be very happy. Obviously, he maybe would have liked to have had a bit more of a challenge. You know, like guys like Sirik and even a few others were missing a few drivers tonight, but that's okay. Obviously, there's people who've got lives to do. And it is a long weekend here in Australia tomorrow, so definitely drivers, and these drivers might be husbands, might be dads, and they might be having their stuff planned out for the long weekend. But for those that are stuck around, thank you so much for racing with us tonight, TS3 drivers. But so far, we've got ourselves a Warpath 360 clean sweep. So Diswood, get your clean sweep card out, track card ready on the Discord.
Yeah, we actually have Nismo in the chat. So welcome, my friend. It's good to see you around. Obviously, Nismo will be streaming main series tonight, so it's good to see him around. And he had a big 12 hours around Le Mans yesterday, so as he's saying, he's a little bit tired, half dead after yesterday's effort. But yeah, that's a very solid 12 hours around that track. But Woodsy be like, mate, 12 hours, that's nothing. I did 9 hours in I did 9 hours in one stint, mate.
Exactly. Yeah, that was a gruesome race for Woodsy, but he held on to take overall victory in the Le Mans 24-hour, but overall victory for the Bathurst 100 goes to Warpath 360, coming around the Murray's Corner for the final time. It is a clean sweep and the championship lead for Warpath 360 and WRT Motorsport. So big congratulations to Warpath for taking victory and the clean sweep here for the Trackstars TS3 Touring Car Series Bathurst 100, with Vossi in second place. So a nice performance for Vossi, and one he's going to be very happy about. And even KPL Baseman, he was nowhere in that first portion of the race, but then he just kept a clean nose, and he's got himself a podium out of all of this, DJ.
Yeah, it's as we always say, keep your clean head and just race your race, and you might come away with something. So, which is what Baseman's done here. So he's kept it clean, and he's come off with a podium there. But we see Benjo come across in 5th, Big Red in 6th, Ben Stick in 7th, and Ozsol Reaper in 8th. But as we say that, in comes the trap card into the TS3 Discord. So congratulations, Warpath, mate. You've just copped the clean sweep trap card from Woodsy.
Exactly right, and as we see our top 10 coming across the line, we had our DNF in Renegade. A bit unfortunate, couldn't finish his lap, but that's okay. Obviously, he was a little bit frustrated there. but nobody can be frustrated in congratulating Warpath 360 for another victory here. So that's a double win, clean sweep for Warpath and the WRT Motorsport for taking victory here at Trackstars TS3. So we go towards the main screen. Warpath, obviously a dominant victory, a man of the match performance there, driver of the day. And as I said plenty of times, had Sirik not left, we could have seen a bit more of a closer battle between those guys. But the other guys will be catching up to Warpath. They've seen that Sirik's not there anymore, so it's now their time to shine, to try and get that second place in the championship standings. Because if Vossi's missed the first 3 rounds and Vossi's been having a clean running in the podiums, he could be challenging for the second place overall in the championship.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't put it past him. So we'll go into that. We'll go into the TS3. So we've actually got you could say a 3-car, maybe 4-car race for second place at the moment. So we've got Renegade on 480, Benjo on 474, Ozsol Reaper on 474, and SS Boy on 435. So that's
SS Boy and missed out there. So yeah, that's definitely. So yeah, this is going to be an amazing series, an amazing end of the with 4 rounds to go. It's anybody's game, but no one's going to be able to catch Warpath 360 unless Warpath 360 decides to take a break and maybe go for a holiday. I don't think anyone's going to be challenging for his quest for championship for the inaugural TS3 championship.
Yeah, exactly, and obviously, I'd like to see a little bit closer with these guys. You never know, mate. We might chuck a bit of boost on for a race. You never know. But yeah, it'd be good to see that. But yeah, maybe we might encourage Warpath to take a week off. But
yeah, why not?
He's had a very solid running, obviously, between him and Sirik. So it's obviously unfortunate there to see Sirik drop out, and I think that's moved him into the TS2 series. So you never know.
Absolutely. We might see him in the TS2. We might see him have a nice little early showing, and maybe he might be able to be on the lookout for some main series drivers or main series teams to sign him up for next year. Who knows? But as we run through our grid, our results page, it is Warpath in first place with Vossi in second, with KPL Baseman in third, Kazi a quiet race in fourth place, with Benjo rounding up the top 5 for a nice decent weekend, and he calls a nice revenge weekend for him compared to his morning stint. That's for sure. With Big Red UFA in 6th place, Ben Stick, the first of the M&R cars, in 7th place. Soul Reaper, what could have been for Soul Reaper, just bit of bad luck for him in 8th place. Gordic in 9th, what could have been as well after a clean sweep at the Kyoto track, with NZL Cowboy rounding up the top 10 with our DNF in Renegade 575. But that's it for TS3, ladies and gentlemen. We thank you so much for tuning in for this stream. Great performance there, and a dominant performance there by Warpath 360. Untouchable this round. So can anybody make the challenge next time round? Will we see a new winner, or will we see complete domination in Warpath 360? Time will tell in 3 weeks' time. But for now, and for us here at TS3,